Today on the list, the most unusual items found in Ubers, why we love our TV moms, and how to navigate a major life change.
If you find yourself constantly looking backwards versus forward, that's a sign that you may be settling.
Plus, ways to set device boundaries for your kids.
How you treat an 8-year-old may be very different than how you treat a 16-year-old.
But up first, advice on health and happiness from a centenarian. It's your life, it's your list, and it starts right now.
Hey guys, I'm Christina Guerrero.
And I'm Jimmy Rhodes. And a lot of people like to give out life advice or tell you life lessons, but it's hard to know if someone's really qualified.
On the other hand, though, if you want to ask someone for tips on how to live a full life, Gladys McGarey has the resume that you want.
She's the 102-year-old mother of 6 who ran a medical practice for 6 decades and has just published a book. And her suggestions for a well-lived life are a featured story at the top of the list.
It's hard to believe that Dr. Gladys McGarey is 102 years old. She still rides a bike and walks.
I walk 3,800 steps with my walker every day. And some days I don't make it, but I try.
She wrote this book, The Well-Lived Life, which holds 6 secrets to health and happiness.
This is about my philosophy.
First, some background on Dr. Gladys. She's known as the mother of holistic medicine. Her parents were traveling doctors in India who helped the poor through a church program. While attending school there, she struggled with dyslexia.
I knew the alphabet and I knew numbers and stuff, but when I saw them written down, they were jumping all over the page. I absolutely couldn't read.
She eventually learned to manage it, and her family later relocated to the U.S., where she went to med school and met her husband, Bill. The two ran a medical practice together in Wellsville, Ohio.
Bill was called back into the Korean War, so I had the whole town by myself. So there were 9,000 people that I was running around crazy.
She also dealt with discrimination because female doctors were rare then, and so were holistic doctors who mix conventional and natural methods to help the body heal itself.
That it's your job to do the amazing work that you've been trained to do, and then support the patient as they do their own healing.
She co-founded the American Board of Holistic Medicine and loved every aspect of it.
Not just birthing, but helping people make the transition at death or just struggle through some really difficult diseases.
Dr. Gladys had 6 children and juggled being a mom with running a medical practice.
I've always been blessed with amazing help at home.
Here are some secrets she learned this past century about how to live a long, healthy life. She says you are here for a reason, and you need to figure out what that is.
I see it as a big jigsaw puzzle with each one of us having a special piece. I was born to be a physician. I told my parents that when I was 2.
She says find that job or hobby that sparks joy. Helping with childbirths did that for her.
When that baby took its first breath, I swear I heard the angels sing.
She also says that everything is a teacher, even life-altering situations.
Sometimes chronic illness makes a person so strong and so beautiful that it's just awesome.
Dr. Gladys beat thyroid cancer and later breast cancer. She says when bad things happen, you learn a lot.
Okay, this is a horrible thing that happened to me. What lesson do I have to learn from this?
We also asked Dr. Gladys about advice for mothers.
It's so easy to get bogged down with all of the things that you have to do.
She says try to be present and enjoy the moment. Also, try not to smother, because mistakes are how kids learn.
The process of over-mothering can become very real, so that the child really doesn't know that what their strengths are.
Dr. Gladys now has a mix of 24 grandchildren, including the greats and a great-great.
So that is 30 people on this planet,
Yeah,
thanks to you. How does that feel?
absolutely awesome. What a privilege.
102 years of advice on living well is at the top of the list.
Keeping children safe online is an ever-challenging task, but with a simple plan and a trusty app, well, you can feel better about what your little ones are able to access on the web. From ground rules to good habits, we are keeping your kids safe in the cyberverse.
Kids are spending more time online than ever, 5.5 hours each day on average, everything from social media to games.
They are spending more time communicating with others, and so they're building networks and they're feeling like they have community. But with that, there's potential downside as well.
Carl Stillner, CEO of child safety app Bright Canary, has a roadmap to help guide you and your child to safer online habits. And it starts by setting ground rules in the form of a digital device contract in easy-to-understand terms.
When can you use this device? What kind of content can be consumed? What are the applications that are off limits?
Carl says parents may be surprised how receptive kids are to an agreement.
It's as simple as providing this kind of structure for many kids. They want structure, and letting them know what the ground rules are in a very clear manner actually helps avoid a lot of conflict.
You can get a free template on the Bright Canary website. Next up are gaming platforms. Most video games enable chat communication for the option to play with friends or with other gamers. He says this is an area that many parents lack experience.
Parents should spend some time actually sitting down and watching the child game so they know what kind of communications are happening on these gaming platforms.
Although moderated, these chat rooms are often filled with vulgar language, hate speech, and bullying behavior.
I do think it warrants sitting down for a half hour and seeing what your kids are doing, because that makes you a much more educated parent as to how to regulate those platforms in your household.
Carl's last bit of advice is ways to monitor your child's online activity. A good place to start is the free apps for your smartphone.
On Apple, it's called Screen Time. On Android, it's called Family Link. And they're both excellent. They both enable you to set limitations around how much time the child is using particular applications.
Carl's Bright Canary app monitors all of your child's online activity, from social media to messaging apps. The parents also can get a notification and see the exact content their child searched or watched.
Then we're running it through machine learning models to score it against things like self-harm or pornography or weapons or hate speech.
The app is $6 a month or $50 per year. If you have financial hardship, they offer a discounted rate. Developing good digital habits, keeping kids safe online.
We all want to improve our lives, but let's face it, it can be easy to get caught in a rut. And staying stuck over time can become toxic. So it's time to break out. Zach Perry's looking at how we can stop treading water and surge forward.
At some point in life, you have to be honest with yourself about where you are versus where you want to be.
Sometimes that honesty is scary and it takes bravery, but you don't necessarily have to hit rock bottom to realize that you need a life change.
For tips to help you stop treading the water of expectations, we spoke to Master Life Coach Dr. Crystal Connor. For starters, watch for signs you're settling.
If you constantly find yourself putting things off until later, that's a sign that you may be settling. If you find yourself constantly looking backwards versus forward, that's also a sign.
You're making plans but not taking action.
And the biggest red flag is if you are consistently finding reasons and justifying why your life is okay just as it is.
And when you first realize what you're doing,
it can cause a lot of overwhelm. It can cause fear. It can cause shame. You could start to feel a lot of regrets. And a lot of times what it causes is this intense need to change everything all at once.
She says feeling the feels is a learning opportunity.
How to process those feelings and then making a decision from not a hyper emotional state, but from a place of being solid about what steps to take next, what changes to make, which ones are okay, and where to start is important.
Next, talk out the life change.
I would suggest talking to family and friends, those that you care about. You don't owe the world an explanation for life changes, but if it's family and friends that are going to be impacted and that you love, it's important to be honest about where you are and why you feel the way that you do.
But she says you should manage the expectations and feedback.
not thinking that everybody's going to be on board is really important going into it, as well as deciding in advance, if my family doesn't agree, my friends don't agree, this is what I'm going to do.
Finally, uncover limiting beliefs.
The first step is to just allow yourself to dream without saying, I have to take action from this place.
Because
your brain is going to just start throwing all kinds of things at you about what you can't do and why you shouldn't do it.
she says trust the process.
It's not always easy, but when you think about an okay life versus an amazing life, it's always worth it.
But avoid trying to change everything at once.
There is no need to settle, and living an okay life is okay, but why do that when you can live an amazing life?
Stop treading water and swim for the gold.
Still to come on the list, we bust the myths about Botox.
It has over 30 indications, which means they've done so many clinical trials on it.
Plus, how mental health care is going mobile.
We've been afforded the opportunity to provide the services for free.
And
what's my problem? You've become an embarrassing psycho.
meet the memorable moms of television.
Yeah, I see there's been some mixed messaging here.
All that and more ahead on the list.
Friends, welcome back. Okay, when Botox, right, first came out, people were understandably confused, right? After all, it was made from the toxin that causes botulism. That's poisonous, guys.
Yeah, and while millions of people are now using it, there are still a lot of questions out there.
Yes, so from raised eyebrows to frozen ones, we are busting myths about Botox.
We've all heard of Botox, but you might not actually know that much about it.
The aesthetics industry didn't have a lot of research until the last couple of years, so a lot of what you see on the internet is opinion, so there's a lot of conflicting things you can find online.
To bust some Botox myths, we spoke with Katie Mann, owner of Curated Medical in Scottsdale, Arizona. Starting with the myth that injectables are obvious.
Certainly, we sometimes see celebrities who definitely look like they've had work done. What do you say to people who say that it doesn't look natural?
There's a couple things that cause injectables to not look natural. With Botox, it can either be not enough or too much. Sometimes if you don't do enough, you get pulling in strange areas, and that's when you see like an eyebrow go in one direction that the other one isn't.
And if you are seeing a celebrity look unnatural, it's not always just the Botox.
Celebrities get a lot of things done, not just injectables, but surgeries. I mean, they have teams of people that are working on them, so that's a big part of it.
Our next myth to debunk: Botox is simple and anyone can do it.
Botox is so quick. I mean, it takes us 2 minutes to do the injection, so it seems like it's super easy, anyone can do it, but Botox is actually pretty complicated.
So while a 2-for-1 deal might sound like a good idea, you want to make sure the injector knows what they're doing.
As injectors, we always have to be one step ahead because we don't see the results right away. It takes 2 weeks to see them. So we have to look at your muscles, predict how they're going to react, and then predict how muscles around them are going to compensate for those muscles that aren't working anymore.
To find a reputable injector, do your research and find someone who is educated and is continuing that education. And last on our list is the myth that Botox is dangerous.
Botox is actually a very safe medication. It has over 30 indications, which means they've done so many clinical trials on it. It has therapeutic indications, which means it's used in medical settings, so like bladder spasms. And then it also has the cosmetic indications, but Botox is just a protein that's taken from the botulism toxin, so it's kind of like having 1 digit of someone's phone number. You're never gonna get a hold of them.
Did it have a bad rap because people didn't know what it was before?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of taboo for so long, and you hear Botox and it's like, oh, what is that?
We're busting Botox myths.
Thankfully, stigma surrounding mental health have significantly eased in the last few years, but there's still a long way to go. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, so Teresa Strasser's our guide to some self-care innovations. Hey, Teresa.
Thank you. With a little innovation and a lot of motivation, these are 3 methods of making an impact on people's lives. Coming in at number 1, Skills on Wheels.
We are in circumstances where appropriate, actually able to dispatch mobile crisis teams.
This RV in North Tulsa, Oklahoma was transformed into a mobile clinic to bring mental health resources to those who don't have transportation.
I thought, what if we get a mobile mental health clinic and we take this show on the road?
They offer a licensed therapist and up to 6 free therapy sessions.
We've been afforded the opportunity to provide the services for free.
And after their sessions are over, patients are connected to other agencies to help them continue to heal.
So that we can set the RV up and just be prepared for those who've signed up for the services.
Amazing program. At number 2, the whole child approach.
What we're seeing more and more are younger kids exhibiting symptoms of anxiety and depression.
Teros Health and the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Valley in Arizona are teaming up to provide free behavioral health services to kids and their families. Their mission is to help kids express their feelings and emotions through games, art therapy, and other activities.
It's so important to meet these families where they're at, where they're already comfortable, where they feel safe.
Services are available to kids and teens from 5 to 18. And last on our innovative ideas for mental health list is Inception.
Is this the future?
Yeah, this is the future. And you guys have finally caught up with me.
This facility in Farmington Hills, Michigan is a gym for the mind and the first of its kind.
We have a toolkit for people who can come in during times of suffering.
Here, patients will rely on a combination of therapies for their nervous system to help with trauma, anxiety, stress, or grief. It's a gym that proves inner fitness might be the most important kind. And those were a few new ways to unwind from our emotions and worries. Lots more to come on the list. Stay right here.
We are back, and on today's watch list, all right, from Carol Brady to Claire Huxtable, you know, it seems like sitcom moms are the world's moms. So in celebration of Mother's Day, which is this Sunday, kiddos, don't forget, Jackie Danker has some of our favorites.
Barbara, Ava, I'd like you to meet my mom, Vanetta.
TV moms are often just like ours, warm and friendly, or a little problematic.
Me? What's my problem?
You've become an embarrassing psycho.
We've rounded up a few of our favorites, and Mark Ellis, correspondent for Rotten Tomatoes, is here to help us sing their praises, starting with the beloved Beverly Goldberg, who takes helicopter parenting to new levels.
Beverly, the matriarch of the Goldbergs, played, of course, by Wendy McClendon-Covey. Is she a mom or is she a smom? Do you mother or do you smother?
Circular motions. We've had this discussion. See?
And even when her kids left the nest, she was hot on their trail.
Mom? What are you doing here?
The Goldberg series finale was this week, but Beverly and her family live on in syndication on Hulu. We're tuning into our next mom, Georgia Miller, played by Brienne Howie from Netflix's Ginny and Georgia.
I grew up with low-rise jeans and America's Next Top Model. It's too late for me. Leave me, but save yourself.
A show that really puts the drama in dramedy.
The show mixes in real-life situations like being a proud single mom struggling to pay the bills.
Graham and Pop would have given you money. Yeah, they would have. But I was afraid they were going to try to take you away from me.
It's real heart-stirring stuff, and it's one of the reasons why this show is always talked about now come award season.
Catch the show streaming on Netflix. We'll wrap it up with Abbott Elementary's Barbara Howard, portrayed by Cheryl Lee Ralph.
There's plenty of moms to go around, not necessarily biological. We have our star character Janine, and she has found a surrogate mom in fellow teacher Barbara.
I've done everything I can for Deshaun, and it's not enough.
So what you're gonna do is pick yourself up, dust yourself off, come back here tomorrow, and do your job.
But when her real mom comes to town, Vanetta, played by the wonderful Taraji P. Henson, that's when you start to realize why Janine may be a little bit of a fixer. She had a mom that sometimes needed fixing.
What brings you to Abbott?
Well, I just thought I'd stop in and check on my baby girl. I was in the neighborhood.
You live in the neighborhood.
Oh, girl, stop it.
School's in session every Wednesday on ABC and streaming on Hulu. That's our salute to the matriarchs of modern television.
Come here and give your mama some love. She's so sensitive.
On the watch list. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's time for what's last on our list. And KG, this is a good one from Uber's newsroom, the 2023 Lost and Found Index.
I think it's more fascinating that Uber has a newsroom.
Who knew?
Right? But it is good. Among the top 10 most forgetful cities were Salt Lake City, Miami, Indianapolis, and Kansas City. And Jacksonville, Florida, folks, was the #1 most forgetful city.
Come on, J-Ville, get it together. The most commonly forgotten items, exactly what you'd expect. Phones, wallets, purses, headphones. But the real fun is looking at the most unusual items left behind in Ubers.
Yeah, like this one, a Danny DeVito Christmas ornament.
Okay, what is that Christmas theme?
Right? An ankle monitor?
Probably not a mistake, and that poor Uber driver had a really interesting conversation with the police later on.
Or was it the Uber drivers?
Ooh.
And someone even left behind a toy poodle.
Okay, how do you forget the family pet?
I know.
Okay, Uber even knows what day last year was the most forgetful. It was April 5th when almost 1,000 lost items were reported.
Interesting. So how do you get your stuff back? Well, of course, you can call your driver, but what if it's your phone that you forgot? Uber suggests logging into your account online and reporting your missing item there.
Okay, so KG, have you ever lost anything in a rideshare?
Oh, once lost my mind, but I will just say it's because he was extra chatty. How about you?
Actually, I left my wallet in the back seat one time, and I got a call 5 minutes away from the driver saying he found it. He drove to where I was to return it, so there really are good people in the world.
That is so delightful. And friends, that's what's last on our list. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on the list, Judy Blume's groundbreaking novel hits the big screen.
It was my truth. I wanted to be honest. It was my honesty of what it was like to be in 6th grade.
Plus, easy to make salsa right at home.
I use fresh and roasted and cooked ingredients.
And how to nail every job interview.
Nothing is more convincing than conviction.
Tomorrow on the list.